much, Sean. I really appreciate it. All right, welcome to our Wednesday's class. I really appreciate you being with us, and I hope tonight's subject will be an endearing one because it is an important one to me. And hopefully, by end of our session, it will be more clear, and hopefully, I give you some tools that to see how more of the professional traders become successful. And it all is all about psychology. I want to start with this little cartoon that I saw the other day, and it's like a brain, but I think it's the inner self saying, "Hey, you're trying to sleep," and of course, we are here. Yes, please let me sleep. And then all of a sudden, this noise comes and says, "The market can remain rational longer than you can remain solvent." That's the message that we need, and we are up all night, and that's what happens. It's majority of what our success is in in encircled is who we are. And I've repeated many times, it's the self-awareness and the self-analysis, the most important thing, especially in trading business. If you want to be a successful trader, you have to know where you come from, what is your mindset, what was your beliefs, where you environment was as a child, what is your inner voice, what is the external voice, and all of that. Once you find those voices and you heard them and you understand them, I can tell you will be successful. By end of our session, there's two things I will go with. I hope you stay till the end because I have an exercise that I'm going to offer you, and hopefully it will at least open the door to become more successful trader, but also applying the two traits that the professional traders have. And that's their secret of success. And I will tell you right now, the two successful things that the professional traders use is one, they're consistent. When you are managing money, when you are trading, the most important thing is you want to be a consistent trader, consistent winner. And because of that, that's how you become more successful. The second thing, and it comes from experience, you become intuitive. It's almost an athlete. It's almost like either a soccer player or tennis player. You hit the ball, you score the goals. You don't know how you did it, but you know you did it. You don't realize it's all the years of practice, all the things that you took, again, within yourself, that it made you intuitive. And that's what the successful traders apply. They become intuitive traders that when you ask them, sometimes it's not replicable, but it is, they just said, I did it. I had the feeling, I knew it was not the feeling, but I just knew it was the right time to get in. And this is how it happened. So understanding your psychology, understanding your emotions, understanding the management of that is the most important thing. So I will close our session by sharing an exercise that hopefully will make you more intuitive and more consistent trader. So why the psychology is important? Because we emphasize so much on the trading system, right? And we've had classes, we want to understand the strategies, we want to understand the options, we want to understand the fundamental analysis. So we want to come up with a system, but then it's only part of the whole picture. It's only 20%. Money management is actually even more important. So if you understand the risk management, how that works, that's the second biggest part of the pot. The main thing is the winning psychology. And I totally believe in that, especially if you're a trader, especially when it comes to futures trading, Forex trading, even in the options trading, they all play a big role because the trading is a reflection of who we are. Once we manage that, once we are becoming more comfortable and we understand all the three elements, the winning system, the risk management, who we are, our psychology, the common ground, when it comes together, then that's how we become profitable. And this is the zone. We become in the zone. Just as Livermore, which he's been told that he probably was the greatest trader of all time. He was a bucket trader. In 1907, he was doing this trading. He'd done everything from corn. In crash of 1929, he made lots of money. It was told that he actually made maybe 300 million in today's dollars. He made millions and millions at least 3 times, and he lost it all. And unfortunately, he died broke because I don't think he applied his money management skill. But he has a lot of great sayings. But one of the best sayings is, in this case, which we're going to talk about, a man must know himself thoroughly if he's going to make a good job out of trading. And that is so important. Now, where does that start? It starts with us. It starts with who we are. Who do we see in the mirror? They're not necessarily the same thing, but unfortunately, that's what it is. And that's what our trades really reflect. It's when we see ourselves, when we're down, we're emotionally stressed, when we have anxieties, what happens is this is how we see it. One thing about trading business is I think it's the most transparent business anywhere because there is no hiding. We cannot hide who we are as far as when we trade. In the trading, it's not the perception somebody else sees us. It's our equity. This is my equity, profit equity from last 6 months. This is what it shows, that if I have hiccups, like in March, I had a little bit, well, this is a little failure maybe, but your whole goal is to have a steady equity curve. So you know that you've been successful. If it's a zigzag like this, then it's an emotional roller coaster. And that's not a business. That's more of a being lucky, going from agony to defeat to euphoria. Again, so your job is to make sure you have a steady equity curve, but it comes with times, and this equity curve, you cannot hide it. At the end of the day, this is what you see, and that's why it's so transparent, and that's why it's such an honest business, because it's you and the market, and that's why you have to come to terms with yourself, of who you are. Now, Mark Douglas, late Mark Douglas, was a great trading coach. He was a commodity trader, and then he wrote a couple of great books that I would highly recommend you read it. And unfortunately, he passed away at a young age, really, in his early 60s. He says, if you can learn to create a state of mind that is not affected by the market's behavior, the struggle will cease to exist. So, and then Linda Rashke, which is still trades, she's one of the successful traders. She says the most difficult task in speculation is not prediction, but self-control. Successful trading is difficult and frustrating. You are the most important element in the equation for success. So it's not about this, as far as, finding this magic pill, turning your 10,000 to 1,000,000. It is about self-discovery and self-awareness to find out who you are and how you deal with your trades. So it starts with your belief system. What are your beliefs? Now, Mahatma Gandhi said, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your values, and at the end, your values become your destiny. So understanding your belief system, where you're coming from, that will help you to become much more successful trader. Now, when we talk about trading, obviously we cannot ignore our beliefs in money. What are your self-limiting beliefs about money? Where are you coming from? And that's, again, we combine your past, your impressions your history with what you're doing now. And because you're in the business of money, you're using money, the capital, to make you more, it's very important the attitude that you have towards the money. What is your relationship with money? Now, some of the things I wrote down, it said, some of the things that some people believe: more income equals wealth, more money equals more happiness, wills are for rich people, more money, more problems, higher price means higher quality. I can't save money when I don't make enough money. If I can't afford the payment, I take on the debt. It's and then, Joe Vitale, he had this top 10, and they're pretty valid, especially the first one. You've heard a lot. The money is the root of all evil, even though the love of money, actually, it should be. It's not actual money, but unfortunately, that has been that misquotation. Sometimes there's a religious connotation to it. That, if you hear this over and over, when you hear that money doesn't grow on the trees, you gotta come from the world of scarcity rather than abundance. If I'm successful, people will hate me. If I make $1 million, I might lose it, and then I would feel stupid and hate myself forever. There's not enough money to go around. If I have a little more than I need to get by, someone else has to go without. That zero-sum mentality. If I have a lot more than I need to get by, lots of people will have to go without. It is better to take less than to be responsible for someone else's hardship. This is more political. Democrats punish the rich, Republicans punish the poor. If I make a lot of money, I will be betraying my father, who never made much money. It goes on and on. And the things I've had, actually, people in my life, I've been in contact. I've had friends who, it's almost similar, like a poker game. I've had friends who did trading. I know people who they turned that $10,000 to $3 million and lost it all. They came back, and again, they turned that money to 2 million and lost it all. And when we went and looked at why, there was this self-sabotage. They felt they did not deserve that money. And because of that, this is all about belief system. The system worked, the strategy worked, they were very strong, they were able to make this successful business growing, but yet, once they got to that magic number, for some people it's 100,000, for some people it's 500,000, some people it's 10 million. When they get that, they just explode and self-sabotage. You have to find your relationship with money. One of the things I've learned and I've thought that, listen, find that comfort zone. If you are good at, if you notice you go to 100,000, for instance, from 20,000, and there's a barrier, then take that portion of that money, invest somewhere else, or put somewhere else, and start from 30,000 or 40,000. Keep repeating that till you break that barrier of 100,000, knowing that you are valuable. You do have, you're worthwhile. So it's not about the money, it's about you and the process, and you have done well. So until you understand that, you break that glass ceiling, you're not going to succeed. You have to get away from the self-sabotage. So what I do is something called anchoring. Now, I'm not what has happened to me, I am what I choose to become. So sometimes when I have negative thoughts, I go back, I use regressions. It happens when I have anxiety or fear. I used to, when I was doing the trading, for instance, or anything else, I would go back in the past. I look at my childhood. I would see what is real bothering me. Is it what my father told me, if my teacher told me, my friend? So I use something called anchoring, and I call it self-love. At that time, I see myself as a child, and I see myself as worthwhile, and I do hug myself, or I pat myself in the back, and I say, I'm good. I've done it. I've been successful, and I keep repeating that. I remember when I was taking my exams, I love taking tests, like for my educational things. Before the exam, I would tap my head. I would really use the point system and find out this was my anchoring, and my memory is good. So these might be silly, but eventually you make a habit of finding that anchor that makes you feel good about yourself, that the trade that you felt it was not worthwhile or it was not the right thing, you will have a complete different belief about that. And again, it's not just about trading, but I think it's a lot of um, uh, as far as obstacles in your life you can use. One of the biggest problems in trading, and I think a lot of people even they don't take the action, is the fear of losses. The losses become really the handicap that we have. It's the obstacle that we have. And where those losses come from. We learn and we read about a lot about cut your losses. This is Ed Sequoia. So cut your losses, then maybe you have a chance. Now, he was one of the great traders in the 70s and 80s. And you read, we have so much available information on the YouTube and the books and the magazines. And you keep hearing, cut your losses, cut your losses. Jesse Livermore talks about, a loss never bothers me after I take it. I forget it overnight. But being wrong, not taking the loss, that is what does damage to the pocketbook and to the soul. So we hear these things, but there's something that stops us from taking that loss. And what is that? Why we will not take a loss, even though we know financially it's not going to affect us that much? Is it because of the investment of time we put in there? Majority of trades, it's more of we have a system, we go in, and we know it's the probability game. Anyway, we know there's a chance of losses, but a lot of times we do not take that. So what is it? Is it admitting that we are wrong? It's not, most of the time, it's not about the money. It's about our emotional hangups. What happened, when we look at emotionally, we are calm, we are relaxed, our higher cortex in a state of calmness, it's in the color blue. But when we have fear, we have anger, we have excitement, we have love, hate, disgust, frustration, all of a sudden, first of all, our higher cortex, which is our thinking part of our brain, becomes disabled. The logic, all the reasoning goes out the window. Now, our amygdala, on the other hand, comes into the picture. Remember, our lizard brain, our alligator brain, that protected us all these 700 million or so. We believe in that's how long it's been. So for past, I needed to be either there's a fight or flight. So we've learned that to protect, to survive. In order to survive, we had to be right. In order to survive, if I'm going to hunt this big animal, I had to make sure I had one chance. I had uh, one time we could hunt this. If I was wrong, I would be the huntee. I would be dead. So what happens is that survival instinct that it puts us in us. And what happens is because of that, sometimes we start asking stupid questions in height of a fear, anxiety. When we lose and the things we are going really bad, we start questioning ourselves. The brain is programmed to come up with answers. And when you ask stupid questions, it comes with answers. I know in the past when I asked myself, why did I do this? How stupid I was. Why am I so stupid? The brain goes and searches and then comes back and say, oh, remember when you were 8 years old, 9 years old, you did this thing, and then you talked to your friend this way, and then, your uncle said this. That's why you're stupid. So it kind of emphasizes all my shortcomings. So number one, you got to learn that don't ask questions, stupid questions, because you will have an answers. The other thing is you want to know why you are in this loss. Now, there's a couple of reasons. These are my own, by the way. It's my experiences. One of the reasons is I've always been very loyal. I mean, I learned I always wanted to be the best friend. I always wanted my favorite teams. I stuck with them. I'm a Manchester City fan, right? they had a glorious 1966, 67. After that, I've suffered for 40 years till finally last 8, 9 years, they've become glorified. But I've been a fan for 51 years. Um, Actually, yeah, 55 years. I was New England Patriots fan from the beginning. Boston Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics was reasonable, but the other ones, they never won, but I was loyal. And the reason I say that, when I used to think if I did an investment and I bought, I got into this trade, it's almost betrayal. It's almost like marriage. When I get in, if I got out after a minute, I'm accepting that I'm cutting them loose. And this is like almost, again, like a marriage, which is completely wrong. I mean, your trade is your business. It's about you and the, the, that momentary trade that you put in to make money in that sense. So it has nothing reflection about you, your personality, or anything at that moment. It's a business. So it has nothing to do if you're a loyal person, if you're married. The biggest problem I always had, and maybe some of you have had, is we have learned to be right. And we feel it's a failure when we are wrong. We go to school. What are the parents' and teachers' expectations? Well, you got to get an A. At least you got to pass. So the failure is not a choice. So being right is very important. When you get commended, when you get good grades. As a human being, as I mentioned, if you're a hunter, you have to be right. You got one chance. So your brain is asking you, you got to be right. So what happens, again, we are programmed. If we are not right, then we are a failure. That's the reason sometimes we stay in these investments, sometimes in relationships, for a wrong reason, because we feel it's a failure if we got out of these things. We stay in a wrong job because we feel that's betrayal. We feel if I pass another step, then things will change. The same thing again in a trade, we feel, oh, it's going to come back because it's a paper loss. Well, especially if you do futures trading, believe me, it gets a lot more painful as time goes by when you're wrong. So that's another reason, because you feel that, until I'm out of it, it's not reflective of my trade. So, it will work it out. The other problem is we live for others. It's what others are going to think about me. It's like a report card for you. Another thing is the shame, the regret. You feel shame that to say, well, I got in, I did all the work, now I lost it. So you don't want to admit that, and you equate the the loss with the shame. Basically, it's a business decision. It's part of life. And again, I will give you an exercise at the end to help you to to solve this dilemma that you have. So accepting losses is fact, and it's part of your, should be part of your trading business. So as I mentioned, it's not, your position should not be about marriage. Alexander Elder, he was a Russian doctor, really psychologist, who fled Russia, came on a boat or a ship to New York City. And he's a great, one of his books is, I recommend reading. He has some great books. The markets are unforgiving, and emotional trading always results in losses. So it's not about, again, the emotions. You've got to deal with that. And I used this before. It's a roller coaster of our emotional investment diagram, in a sense. We feel euphoria. We are invincible. And if you notice, we talk a lot about the sentiment. Then when the rubber band is stretched, when everybody's all positive, there's no more people to sell to. When everybody's so negative, there's no more people to buy from, in a sense. So there's a lot you can buy at a bargain. So in this situation, this is a good way of understanding your emotional roller coasters. So how we can resolve that? So one of the best ways to become successful is through confidence. And we want to, the more confidence found out the level, the more successful we become as a trader. Now, the confidence doesn't come when you have all the answers, but it comes when you are ready to face all the questions. So constantly answering the questions and finding the answers, then it becomes, you become proactive rather than reactive. You become someone who acquired the knowledge based on your actions rather than just being given. A winner is just a loser who tried one more time. No, I'm stronger because I had to be. I'm smarter because of my mistakes. I'm happier because of the sadness I've known. And now I'm wiser because I've learned. So some of the traits of the confident trader, there are many more. I just decided to use these five, is discipline, which comes from actually from confidence because you become disciplined. And people who are confident, they're constantly learning. They're always upgrading themselves internally and externally. I mean, you look at Warren Buffett and Charles Munger. I mean, he goes through, I don't know how much, sometimes I've heard, first of all, at least 2 hours in the morning he reads. He wants to be on top of everything. And he's 90 years old. Now, the other thing is you have to be yourself. You've got to accept who you are. This is that number four is very, very important as a trader, the patience. And we will talk more about that. Being patient, you don't get paid by hour as a trader. You get paid for the decision that you make and the journey that you take. And nobody's sitting there watching you and giving a standing ovation because you've been watching 4 monitors for 8 hours a day. Nobody pays you for that. So you look for the right opportunity, and once it presents itself, you get in. And then, of course, we talked about emotions. You've got to be aware of your emotions and control them. So how does the disciplined trader happen? It is the discipline is the difference between the good and great. So Victor, Seprandio was a great trader. He has a couple of great Trader Vic was one of the great books in the 1980s, and he was from 70s, 80s, and the 90s. The key to trading success is emotional discipline. If intelligence were the key, there would be a lot more people making money trading. So how this journey takes us from successful trading to make money trading, you must do something different. You have to, well, you start, we talk about the tools. We've done that, you do your study, then you find a strategy, get the discipline, and I will go give you some work study or an exercise that it will put everything together, and that becomes your trading success. So there's 7 tips I share with you about building trading discipline. Number 1, you've got to have a trading plan, which is written on paper. We talked about this on our trading and business model a few weeks ago. Find what is your compatible trading strategy. It's all about your personality. It's about you. So I mentioned if you're analytical, methodical, are you emotional and excitable? You are the quick decision maker, or are you, again, Natal, you like to take your time, analyze things. So find that. And again, discipline is more than just trading. It's all aspects of your life. You've got to find where your strengths are and how you discipline are in other things. You have to understand your trading process. And I emphasize this, how to come to the conclusion and what process you took. And this number 5 is very important. Don't search for hot tips. Don't look at the chat. Don't go in the chat rooms. Don't go on the Facebook and Twitter and find out where, because it is given to you, it doesn't have the value. Then you start from your belief system. Use paper trading to start with to help with your strategy. You back test it. You do it enough that you feel comfortable, then you should start the real trading. And the 7th thing is develop your trading perspective. What are your expectations, your visualization? What is the goals that you have? Again, Dr. Elder says, the goal of a successful trader is to make the best trades, and money is secondary. We will have repetition of this message the rest of our session. Arsene Wenger, the old Arsenal coach, says if you do not believe you can do it, then you have no chance at all. So again, it's your belief system. When you come into this business, you're doing trading, you really have to be convinced that you are confident enough to do this. Richard Wyckoff, this is actually, I think, a very important message that says, listen to what the market is saying about others, not what others are saying about the markets. Because the markets, people come and they justify. I mean, you listen to the news and it's all after facts, everything is justified. Watch the markets, get the message from them. These are just 5 quick rules of trading that I thought to share with you. They're not mine, but that the first one is make peace with your losses, which we've emphasized it, so they won't disturb your future. Number 2, what other people think of your trading is none of your business. Number 3, don't compare your trades to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Number 4, the only person in charge of your success is you. And number 5, stop thinking so much. Sometimes you just need to take action. And this is a big hinder because we overanalyze sometimes things and don't take the actions. Now, this is another thing we talked about, patience. Money is made by sitting, not trading. I have a good friend of mine who's a trader and asked me what kind of animal I am. And I had to explain. I said, well, because I was in so many different markets, I always did so many trades. I said, I'm like a cheetah or leopard. I jump from one thing. I'm very fast. I do this and I jump, I do this. And he said, interesting. Do you know what I am? And I had to think. He was very successful. I mean, one of the most successful traders they are, and there is. They've written books about him. And he said his biggest success is because of he was an alligator. He would sit by the shores of Nile, wait for 10 months, and in 1 month, all these gazelles would run by, and he will have a great hunting. So being patient is such a great asset to have. Again, just Livermore, there's a time to go long, a time to go short, and a time to go fishing. Do know your limits and your times and be patient. Don't take an action with a trade until the market itself confirms your opinion. Being a little late in a trade is insurance that your opinion is correct. In other words, don't be an impatient trader. Also, again, just lower prices are never too high to begin buying or too low to begin selling, because we always think of value. We think about the coupons and, we go to the grocery store, but especially if you're a momentum trader, this is a great code. Markets are never wrong. That's another big common traits for the professional traders. They are not here to prove the markets, because markets are not wrong. Yeah, opinions often are. So you have to respect the markets. So let's talk about fear, because fear is really what hinders us. The loss of fear, the things that it allows us to be frozen rather than taking action. So there are basically the 4, but the 3 main ones are fear of losing money, our capital. But I think the second one is the most important one for me, is fear of being wrong, just because I mentioned regret, shame. And the third one is a fear of missing out, because we think, oh my God, last time I missed out, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to jump on this trade because I don't want this bus to leave without me. So we make this panic and irrational decision to be in the market. So there's few steps for overcoming the trading fears. I mentioned about anchoring, that helps me, but I thought this is, again, this is not mine. I found this out and I've applied it before. So there's 4 things you have to understand about fears. First of all is the awareness. Notice the fear. Don't try to deny it. It's there, accept it. Or if it's not, if you don't accept it, don't try at least to deny or wish it away. It's there. Second thing is acknowledgments. You have to accept that you're feeling fearful. It's okay. And say it out loud to yourself. Don't have a shame or don't have the guilt that I have this feeling. It's a natural feeling. Again, your lizard, your alligator brain is working. Acknowledge it. Identification. You have to pinpoint the kind of fear that you're experiencing by asking yourself a direct question. Why am I feeling fearful? What is the real reason? It could be something really stupid. Number 4 is elimination. To reduce the fear. Eliminate it by fully accepting the possibility that what you're afraid of can actually happen. What is the worst case? Think about the worst case it happened, visualize it, and accept it. And once you see it, if I lost $1,000, is this end of my life? If I lost $500, what is the worst case scenario? Because I'm in control. So if you have those, then I think it's a lot easier to confront fears. The FOMO is, again, fear of missing out, is when there's that excitement on top. Oh my God, the markets are going up. I'm going to jump on it. And usually it's the wrong time. Be constantly afraid that if I don't get, especially if it happens during the earning times and when there's a big news comes out, and you look at what happened to, the Fed announcements, the market goes up and then just comes down while everybody's like excited. So this is part of the market. So don't be slave to FOMO. George Soros says, if investing is entertaining, if you're having fun, you're probably not making any money. Good investing is boring. The minute that you feel, oh my God, I have nothing to do, this is boring, I got to get into a trade, that's because of, again, you equating trading as a job. It's not a job, it's a business. You can make money in 5 minutes more than somebody makes in a week. Or you make nothing in a week while somebody is having a salary. So you have to understand this is a business. It's not about your excitement. It's not gambling. It's about actually making money, or at least doing, it's a profitable business. Bernard Baruch says, in trading and investing, it's not about how much you make, but rather how much you don't lose. Again, it's about risk management, your loss management. My hero, John Templeton, says, the four most dangerous words in investing are, this time is, it's different. Don't fall to this fallacy, because the markets do repeat. The history repeats. And John Bogle, late John Bogle, says, learn every day, but especially from the experiences of others, it's much cheaper. So I'm going to share some of the secrets, again, that I have, over the years I've learned. So I thought I shared with you some of the things that, it has helped me. So there's about 22 of them. I'll go through them quickly in the interest of time. So the first one is that the successful traders, the professional, they approach trading as business, and they have written trading plans. So they have a written trading plan. Number two, they're open to receive. The question is, we think by just giving, we're a good person, and that is awesome. We have to give. But giving doesn't mean that you cannot receive. You cannot have a guilt that I'm on a futures trade. As you know, it's symmetric. So if I take this trade and I win, somebody loses. But that's the nature of business. So what happens when you accept that there are risks, but also you open your arms and say you're willing to receive? By doing that, you would receive, and the success, the money goes through you. And that's how you can become more giving. So be very open to receive. The successful traders are calm and in control. They don't believe net worth translates to self-worth. They don't sit down and equate and say, well, I'm worth more, so I'm a better person. They believe trading is not about feeling. They are serious about what they're doing. They love trading and are passionate about it. Protecting capital is rule number one. They are patient and good at being on the sideline, which we talked about before. They don't pay attention to other people's opinion. They understand probabilities and are good at loss and risk management. They respect the markets. They are accountable and use losses as tuition and sometimes a loan to the markets. When I lose, when I have a losing trade, what I do is I don't get upset. I said this was a temporary loss. That's part of life. But you know what? That was a loan I gave to the market and I'm going to get it back with interest on it. That's it. So it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but next week. It's the cumulative of actions, not just single actions. Number 14, they believe process. And this is so important. They believe in learning and trading. They look at this as a journey. It's more important than money, the outcome, because the money will come. It's the process that it takes us there. They focus on trading well, not counting how much money they have made. The exit strategy for them is as important, if not more important, than entering the trade. They don't make emotional decisions when trading. They don't panic. They don't take small profits because they're afraid, oh, I'm going to lose a big picture or I'm going to lose the little money I made. And they don't have large losses. They manage their losses. They have no expectations when entering the trade. They are confident, disciplined, and patient. They are not afraid because they are not reckless and accept and understand the risk. They monitor self to get better, and they believe losing a trade is not being a loser. If I lost a trade, if I lost this investment, that doesn't mean I'm a loser. This was just one part of the equation. There are many to come. So here I have the trading exercise for you to how you can actually become an intuitive trader and how you can become a consistent winner. I learned this from Mike Douglas many, many years ago, early 2000 or so, and I thought I'd share it with you. I think it's pretty valid exercise. So what I want you to do when you're doing this trading exercise is assume you have, let's say you did paper trading, you've come up with a strategy that you're very comfortable with, you think the patterns are working, you're ready to go and make real trades with real money. Now that you have accepted that, then this is the time. Let's say you have a capital. I use 10,000, 100,000, whatever it is. You have to accept that portion of that capital will be paid as a tuition. That's it. You just say, all right, I have a $10,000, and out of 10,000, I am willing to pay $2,000 to become a consistent winner and an intuitive trader. Okay? So what that means is, out of 10,000, 20% is you're willing to accept as a loss. Okay. So what I want you to do, once you got your trading strategy in place and you have your account ready to go, then you have to promise that you will take at least the minimum of 20 trades in a row when the patterns or the trading strategy presents itself. Now, what that means is if you have the 20 trades, 2,000 divided by 20, that translates to $100 of loss every trade. So what that means is if I did my first trade and I lost $100, I'm out. Second trade, I'm out. It's almost tossing a coin, and if it's heads are win, tails are loss, it will take you 20 trades in a row. That means you have to lose 20 trades to replenish your $2,000. By doing that, what is happening? You're actually building a habit and you're building a process. And that's what you become a successful soccer player because you're shooting that ball every single day, or shooting as a basketball, you're shooting a hoop, or as a golfer, you're doing the range. You are doing something with a defined strategy, you're repeating the same thing, but also learning to take the losses. $100 a loss is acceptable, and you are willing to do that, and you keep taking that loss, and you see it wasn't as bad. It didn't kill me. I didn't have anxiety. I had a set limit. And once you do that, and again, we are assuming you had 20 trades of 20 losses. I would recommend to do more. I mean, if it's after 20 trades, you still have that capital, continue. You do so much more that, again, you become intuitive. So here's some of the keys. One of the most important things to understand about the market is you have to believe that the markets are random. They have a random outcome. Nobody, no talking head comes on TV, knows exactly what's going to happen 10 minutes later. It is random. The minute that you accepted that, even if you found this pattern, which is great, that's what we talk about probabilities. Probabilities give you the edge. They don't give you the assurance. They don't give you the certainty. They just give you that edge. Once you accepted that random outcome, you won't believe that you're a loser. Because with randomness comes the chances. So you either win or you lose. So if you lose, you're not a loser. That was part of the random outcome. Second thing is trade for learning a new skill, not an outcome. So just be excited. You're learning this new process. As I mentioned, this is something that you are willing to take your time and your capital to learn. And I'm willing to learn the skills without the fear, because this isn't a skill. If I'm excited about playing tennis or golf or soccer, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going there. The minute that I fear, oh my God, I'm going to hurt my back, I'm going to break my knee, or something bad is going to happen, there's no joy and there's no learning. So once you're acquiring the skill, do it without fear. Make sure I'm going to take the next 20 trades and I will pay my tuition. With that, there's no wiggle room. There's no ifs and buts. This is a discipline. You have to go with it. You cannot deviate. You can say, oh, this time there's excuse. I'm not going to. No, you want to build that habit of knowing that consistently you were in this trade and you built that, again, the intuitiveness. And what this brings is, instead of avoiding confrontation, you're embracing it. You're at it because you have a known risk and you understand what is going to happen next, what is the worst case scenario. And as I mentioned, we are assuming you will lose 20 trades in a row. Probabilities tells us it's very, 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 very low probable that this could happen. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. I want to close our class, again, in the interest of time, just quickly. Some of the best trading psychology books that has helped me, there are many of them, I will be more than happy to give you more, I thought these 7 books are great books. I enjoy reading them over and over. And I will definitely encourage you to have it in your library. The Reminiscence of Stock Operators, I give it to all my students, when I'm in college with my MBA students, I tell them, please read this. Trading for Living by Dr. Elder, Trading the Zone by Mark Douglas, and also The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. These are 2 great books. Market Wizards, it's a must. It talks about all the trading strategies, and it's a wonderful interviews with successful traders in 1980s. Trader Vic goes outside the box. It's a great read. And Trading in the Zone by our late Ari Kief is also a great book. So with that in mind, I really appreciate you being with me. This subject is very dear to me because I've made a lot of mistakes. I have paid lots of tuition. I have, again, I've paid the price to be here, and it has been a great tuition to pay, but it has paid back over and over many, many times. So with that in mind, I really appreciate, again, you being with us. Sean, if you're still with us, you can stop recording, and then I will be open for any questions that you have. Thank you very much, Sean. I hope you're okay with time.